Stepping into the world of serious sim racing often feels like crossing a boundary. The moment your wheelbase delivers realistic jolts of force feedback, you know you're no longer holding a game controller. The Thrustmaster T598 is that kind of leap, bringing a surprisingly refined direct drive experience to a price tier where you might not have expected it. Let's go ahead and take it out of the box and I'll show you my setup process. The first step is to attach the base bracket, and to do this I'm going to face the incline of the base to the side where I'm going to attach the wheel from. Step 2 is to screw in these plastic pieces into the desk clamp. Now let's go ahead and clamp this down on a desk. So unfortunately I was not able to clamp this onto my racing rig, but my T298 wheel fits on it. This one, for some reason, I was not able to clamp it, nor was I able to screw it in with the screw holes. It just did not align. But anyways, step 4 is to attach the racing wheels. So let's go ahead and pop this latch up right here and pop in the racing wheel. Super easy. It definitely gives me race car vibes and I'm all here for it. Next is for the pedals. Now I'm just going to put this screw in here and put this other screw on the right side of the pedals. Next, I'm going to put in these springs and this plastic piece here. So the plastic piece with the white rubber on it is for the brakes and the one without it is for the accelerator. So yep, just going to put the spring in here and it pops right in, and there are 3 levels of adjustments. Next is to plug it all up, and it's pretty self-explanatory. It's like solving a puzzle piece. So a straightforward setup experience here. As for the cables for the pedals here, if you look at the little plastic hub right there where the 2 cables separate, it's going to tell you which one is for brake and gas. So plug that in accordingly, which I figured out after playing some games. The heart of the T598 is its axial flux motor, a design choice that reduces the cogginess often felt in traditional motor systems. Thrustmaster advertises a constant torque of 5 Nm, but with overshoot capabilities that briefly kick it up higher. This means you can feel intense, punchy effects like snap oversteer or sharp curb impacts without constantly running at maximum torque. The system also features Harmony technology, which injects high-frequency torque, letting you pick up very subtle road textures like tire squeal, surface roughness, and curb rumble, all present more faithfully. On top of the base sits a small race dash screen, which offers more than just static info. There are 4 buttons next to the dash, and the mode button we can select between PlayStation 2 mode, PC mode, and PlayStation mode 1. So depending on the game you're playing on your PS5 or your PlayStation, you can switch to the mode accordingly by checking the Thrustmaster's game list. The ability to change the wheel settings on the go is very convenient for console players like me. All I have to do is press the settings button, and here I can choose to change the wheel settings or the dash screen settings. Starting with the wheel settings, I can change the force feedback settings, the master settings, which lets you adjust the overall power of the force feedback effects, the mode settings, which determines how responsive or sharp force feedback feels. The friction settings adds a resisting force when the wheel is turned slowly or is idle. The boost low and boost high settings amplify different frequency components of the force feedback signal. Then the speed settings control how fast the wheel coasts when you let it go. The damper settings smooths out the force feedback motion. Lower damper tends to give more detailed feedback, but with more risk of jitter. The spring settings controls the self-centering force generated by the wheel when the game does not provide its own centering force through force feedback. And then there's gear jolts, a simulated bump on shifts that give a physical sensation when changing gears. Now, this is something I never experienced from my T298, and yes, this definitely brings that extra layer of immersion. Then there's inertia, where it adds a force that resists quick directional changes, simulating inertia. This helps reduce oscillations when driving straight. On the dash screen settings, you can choose to view the RPM, pick between GT or Formula mode. This setting changes how the RPM is displayed on the screen. You can view gear, speed, position, lap, and best lap time. The detachable 11.8-inch rim has magnetic paddle shifters, which feel sharp and satisfying, although the rim itself is built from relatively simple plastic, which I was not expecting, but the carbon fiber look kind of makes up for it. It also features PlayStation ecosystem buttons for easy navigation through both the game menus and the system interface. Pedal-wise, the T598 includes a 2-pedal metal set with Hall effect sensors, which is both durable and precise. While there's no load cell brake included by default, Thrustmaster offers an upgrade path so you can add one later, making the system future-proof in a way that matters for serious sim racers. In terms of performance, the T598 is impressively smooth thanks to its axial flux motor. The feedback feels very clean and finely resolved without the jerky transition common in lower grade wheelbases, which I will talk about later on. But the motor can get warm during long sessions. These are not deal breakers, but they do reflect the trade-offs Thrustmaster made to deliver direct drive at this price. Now let's compare this direct drive wheel to my hybrid/belt drive wheel, the T248. So this is not a full comparison, it's just a quick comparison between these two type of wheels. And what I will say is, for direct drive wheels, the motor is directly connected to the wheel shaft. There's no belts or gears between the motor and wheel, which means less mechanical loss and more precise immediate feedback. It has very high torque potential because the motor does have heavy lifting itself, and there's few moving parts, which means it's more durable with less maintenance. While hybrid drives use belts and or gear system to transfer force from a smaller motor to the wheel. Belt amplification allows a smaller motor to feel stronger, but some force detail gets dampened or lost in the process. It also feels pretty smooth in many cases because belt drive absorbs some harshness, but one thing with belt drives is that it can wear over time, which may need maintenance. So compared to direct drive wheels, they will last from 7 to 12 plus years, while hybrid drives have an expected lifespan of 3 to 6 years before noticeable wear. So it can last even higher, between 5 to 8 years with a belt replacement. On the other hand, direct drive, it almost has no mechanical wear parts. So, it has industrial style motors designed for continuous load. Bearings and electronics are the only long-term wear points. So if you're looking for some serious simulation rig action here and you want to maybe go up the simulation world, then a direct drive is definitely the way to go. But if you want to save some money, hybrid drive is also there, and you will also get long years of use out of that as well. Let's do the sound test of the T248 right here. You see, it only can spin to a certain level here, and then I can spin it the other way. I enjoy this wheel right here. If you guys want to see a more in-depth comparison between these two, just let me know in the comments down below. But now, you hear how that sounds? Now let's check out the sound of this guy right here, which is no sound. And it just keeps on spinning. Just keeps spinning. Super quiet. Pretty much no noise here. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we are about to commence the ASMR test right here. Let's hear how this baby sounds. Now, I do have the speakers on my TV slightly up just for a little bit. Look at do you hear the vibrations, and do you feel or see the power of me switching gear? Everything is set to max over here. Now, first what I'm going to do is switch the gears here. Let's hear how the wheel sounds when it's just doing its own thing. So the vibrations running up against the wall right now. Let's go a little faster here. Hopefully you can hear that. Ooh. Whoa, whoa, whoa. That sounds good. Here's how the paddles sound, just without any vibrations. And this is what the pedals sound like. Boom. Let's press some buttons over here. Some more ASMR. Booyah.